What if the reason you're still struggling with money isn't because you're lazy or unlucky or not smart enough, but because no one ever showed you the rules? Think about that for a second. We're taught how to memorize facts in school. We're told to get a job, work hard, pay our bills, and hope for the best. But no one ever pulls us aside and says, here's how money actually works. Here's how to build wealth from scratch, no matter where you're starting. And so most people drift. They hustle. They worry. They settle. They worry, they settle. Not because they want to, but because they don't know there's another way. But there is another way. And it starts with a decision to stop following the crowd and start learning the rules that the wealthy live by. These rules don't belong to the rich. They belong to anyone willing to follow them, anyone brave enough to shift their mindset, take ownership, and begin. And the truth is, you don't need to wait for the right age or the right moment, because it's not about age, it's about awareness. Jim Rohn didn't come from money. At 25, he was broke, working a job he didn't love, drowning in debt, living paycheck to paycheck. He wasn't special. He wasn't lucky. He was stuck just like so many people are right now. But everything changed when he realized one powerful truth. Success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming the kind of person who deserves it. That shift in perspective, that was the turning point. He stopped asking, why am I always broke? And started asking, what do successful people do differently? And slowly, piece by piece, he rebuilt his life. He studied, he practiced, he committed. And the more he learned, the more he grew, not just in his wallet, but in his confidence, his vision, and his peace of mind. Now, here's why this matters to you. Because the same rules that transformed his life can transform yours too. They don't require you to be rich. They don't require a college degree, a high-paying job, or some magical opportunity. They just require one thing, a willingness to learn and take control. Right now, you might be in the same place he was. Maybe you feel stuck. Maybe you're tired of watching the days pass by while your dreams stay out of reach. Maybe part of you believes wealth is only for other people, not people like you. But that's the lie. That's the trap. Wealth is not reserved. It's created, and it starts with understanding the simple but powerful principles that guide it. Principles that aren't taught in school or handed out in job training. Principles that, once applied, can shift the course of your life forever. And the best part, you don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need to take one step, one choice, one mindset shift. Because here's the truth, money doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to clarity, to strategy, to intention. You don't get rich by chance, you get rich by choice. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner everything starts to change. So, here's the reward for sticking around. You're going to learn the exact rules that took a broke, uncertain 25-year-old and turned him into one of the most financially independent minds of his generation. These rules have helped thousands of people just like you, people who were tired of being stuck, tired of being confused, tired of just getting by. And these aren't just money tips. They're life principles. They shape the way you think, the way you act, the way you value yourself and your future. They reconnect you with power you forgot you had, the power to choose a better path, no matter where you're starting. This video isn't about hype. It's not about get-rich-quick fantasies. It's about truth. It's about timeless principles that have stood the test of time. And if you let them, they'll reshape your reality. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop watching other people succeed and start building your own version of freedom? Because if you are, then keep listening. This isn't just a list of money rules. This is your invitation to change everything. Most people think wealth is about luck. Being born into the right family, landing the right job, catching some once-in-a-lifetime break. But here's the truth most never hear. Wealth is not something you find, it's something you build. From the inside out, it begins the moment you stop looking for shortcuts and start building habits that last. Jim Rohn's life didn't change because he found a better paycheck. It changed because he became a better thinker, a better planner, a better steward of what little he had. He didn't wait for more money to act wealthy. He started acting like someone who respected money, even when he had none. That shift, that identity change, was the real foundation. Because money doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are. And if you're careless with $100, you'll be careless with 100,000. If you waste time, you'll waste opportunity. If you ignore your own growth, your income will reflect. That's the brutal honesty no one wants to hear, but it's the key that unlocks everything. Wealth begins with discipline, not the kind that feels like punishment, but the kind that feels like freedom. The discipline to save even when it's hard, to invest when it's scary, to learn when it's uncomfortable, to say no to now so you can say yes to the future. Jim learned that the first rule of wealth is simple. Always pay yourself first. Before the bills, before the fun, before anything else, set something aside for you. Not just to spend later, but to grow. Because saving is more than a financial act. It's a declaration of self-respect. It's you saying, my future matters, and here's the secret. It doesn't matter how small you start. What matters is that you start. $1 saved with discipline has more power than 1,000 earned with recklessness. Because that dollar carries intention, and intention is what separates the wealthy from the broke. Then came another truth, one that most people never understand. You don't get ahead by shrinking your life. You don't become wealthy by cutting back until there's nothing left to enjoy. You do it by expanding your value, by becoming someone the world rewards. Jim understood that working harder on your job might make you a living, but working harder on yourself, that builds a fortune. So he did the work most won't. He read, he listened, he studied, he grew. And as he did, so did his income. Because the marketplace always reflects your personal development, not overnight, but inevitably. And he didn't stop there. He began to track everything, his spending, his ideas, his lessons, his goals. He kept a journal, not just to remember numbers, but to remember who he was becoming. Clarity gave him control, and control gave him confidence. Most people drift financially because they live in a fog. They don't know where their money goes. They don't know where their time went. They don't know what they truly want, and so they settle for what's left. But when you track your growth, when you measure your progress, you take back your power. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. That shift alone can change your entire financial story. This is the heart of it. The money you earn is a mirror of the person you're becoming. And if you want to earn more, you have to become more focused, more disciplined, more valuable to the world around you. You are not stuck, you are not late, and you are not powerless. There's a fire inside you that money can never create, but that money can magnify. And the first spark is lit when you take ownership, not of the world, but of yourself, your choices, your energy, your habits. That's where real wealth begins. You don't have to be a millionaire to act like one. You don't have to have everything figured out to take the first step, and you don't need permission to build the life you want, but you do need to move. You do need to start. You do need to decide once and for all that you're done waiting, that you're done hoping someone else will come save you, because no one's coming. No one's going to do it for you. But here's the good news. You don't need them to. You have everything you need to begin right now, right where you are. The rules are simple, but the decision is hard. To stop blaming, to stop pretending that tomorrow will magically fix today. Wealth isn't for a someday. It's for those who are willing to do what others won't now. The life you dream of is not some distant fantasy. It's a few consistent actions away. Small things done daily, with clarity, with courage, with belief. So ask yourself, how long are you willing to wait? How many years will you trade for comfort, for distraction, for delay? Because every day you wait is a day you could have built, a day you could have changed. And if you want change, if you're truly ready for it, then now is the time to prove it. If you're still listening, that means something inside you refuses to settle. That spark, that quiet inner pull is not random. It's the part of you that knows there's more to earn, more to become, more to live for. And that voice, you should start listening to it more often. The world will try to convince you that your best years are behind you, that if you haven't made it yet, you probably never will, that the system is rigged and you should just be grateful for what you have. But none of that is truth. It's noise. And the longer you listen to it, the longer you'll stay stuck in a version of life that doesn't belong to you. You were not born to survive. You were born to grow, to expand, to rise. But to do that, you need more than hope. You need direction. One of the most powerful things Jim Rohn ever realized was this: learning must come before earning. Not as a theory, but as a way of life. Most people chase money without ever understanding how it moves, how it grows, or how to hold on to it. They want more, but they're not ready for more. They haven't built the foundation. If you want to build wealth, start with your mind. Make it sharper, make it stronger. Feed it with books, ideas, wisdom from those who've walked the path, because money doesn't flow to those who need it. It flows to those who understand how to manage it. And you don't become wealthy by accident. You become wealthy by design. This is why the most valuable asset you have isn't your job or your degree or even your current bank balance. It's your ability to learn. If you protect it, if you use it, if you stretch it every single day, there's no limit to what you can build. But if you ignore it, if you let comfort win, you'll pay for that silence with years of regret. And as you grow, so will your circle. Because another truth most people overlook is this: your environment is shaping you whether you realize it or not. Look around. Who are you spending your time with? What do they value? How do they talk about money, ambition, growth? Are they building or are they complaining? Say, are they stretching themselves or settling for the minimum? Because whether you like it or not, their habits are rubbing off on you. Their mindset is becoming your baseline. Jim Rohn said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." That's not a quote to impress you. It's a warning to protect you. If you want to change your life, you have to change your standards. And your standards are directly influenced by who you surround yourself with. Stop trying to pull people up who don't want to rise. You'll lose your energy and your focus. Instead, start reaching for those already climbing. Sit in rooms where your goals feel small. Listen more than you speak. Ask better questions. Learn by watching how they think, not just what they do. This kind of environment stretches you. It breaks the limits you've silently accepted. It forces you to grow, not in ego, but in capacity. And that's the growth that wealth requires. But growth isn't comfortable. It exposes your excuses. It challenges your routines. It demands more from you than you thought you could give. And yet it rewards you in ways comfort never will. Because comfort keeps you safe, but growth sets you free. You're not too old. You're not too late. You're not behind. The world may try to put a timestamp on your potential, but your future is not decided by your past. It's decided by your patterns. And patterns can be changed. Starting today, start asking more of yourself. Demand more from your minutes, your money, your attention. Trade distraction for direction. Trade reaction for intention. Trade the noise of the world for the clarity of your vision. There's power in the way you choose to live each day, and the choices you make in silence, when no one's watching, will echo louder than any applause ever could. So protect your time like it's gold. Protect your energy like it's fuel. And protect your mind like it's the vault of your future. Because it is. You don't need anyone's permission to rise, just your own commitment. The next level of your life won't come from luck. It will come from the habits you build, the knowledge you seek, and the people you allow to influence you. The formula is simple. The question is, will you follow it? Because there's a version of you waiting, stronger, wiser, wealthier. Not just in dollars, but in confidence, in freedom, in peace. You get to decide if that version stays a dream or becomes your reality. The decision is yours. But if you're still here, still listening, still leaning in, then maybe, just maybe, you've already made it. If you've already made the decision to rise, then what comes next is simple, but not easy. You must protect that decision. Guard it like a flame in the wind. Because the moment you choose to grow, life will test you. Not because it wants to break you, but because it wants to see if you're serious. Everything around you will try to pull you back into your old self, old habits, old routines, old thinking. It'll whisper that change is too hard, that you're asking too much of yourself, that maybe staying the same isn't so bad. But you didn't come this far just to listen to fear. You came this far to lead your life, not follow your doubts. This is the part where most people quit, not because they don't want success, but because they've never trained their mind to win when it gets uncomfortable. But discomfort is not the enemy. It's the doorway. The faster you learn to lean into it, the faster you grow into someone who can hold more responsibility, more success, more wealth, more purpose. You see, wealth isn't just about accumulation. It's about becoming the person who can manage what you once only dreamed about. And that takes internal strength, mental clarity, emotional maturity. Without that, money slips through your hands as quickly as it comes. But when you're prepared for it, you don't just earn it, you multiply it. You use it to build, to give, to live with intention instead of fear. So how do you get there? By making one powerful shift. Stop waiting for motivation and start relying on discipline. Motivation comes and goes. It fades when you're tired. It disappears when results are slow. But discipline stays. It doesn't care how you feel. It only asks, will you keep your promise to yourself today? Discipline is self-respect in action. It's choosing what you want most over what you want now. And every time you honor that, you become stronger, more trustworthy in your own eyes. That's what builds confidence. Not fake positivity or empty affirmations, but evidence. Evidence that you said you would do something, and you did it. Over and over again. This is what creates momentum, and momentum is what makes change feel real. It starts small, waking up earlier, tracking your spending, reading instead of scrolling, investing instead of wasting, making one better decision each day. And as those decisions stack, so does your belief. You start to feel it. You start to see it. The gap between who you are and who you want to be begins to close. That's when things shift, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. And that strength, it's rare. Most people never develop it because they want ease more than they want excellence. They want comfort more than they want clarity. But the ones who break through, they don't chase what's easy. They commit to what's necessary. You must become one of those people, not because you're better than anyone else, but because your future depends on it. Every day, you're either repeating your past or creating your future. And the difference is not luck. It's not talent. It's habits. Tiny choices that seem invisible in the moment, but compound into your reality. You don't just stumble into wealth. You build the life that invites it. And it begins with the question, am I living with intention or am I just reacting? If you're reacting, life will always feel overwhelming. You'll always feel behind, exhausted, stuck in a cycle of work, bills, and uncertainty. But if you start living with intention, everything changes. You wake up with purpose. You spend with awareness. You plan with vision. You no longer let life push you. You start directing it. You become the architect instead of the passenger. And slowly, you'll notice something strange. The same problems that used to scare you no longer have power. The same doubts that once held you back get quieter. Not because life got easier, but because you became someone who doesn't fold under pressure. That's when true wealth begins. It's not just numbers in a bank account. It's peace. It's confidence. It's the ability to breathe deeply because you know you're building something solid, something real. That's the reward of this path. You're not just chasing money. You're building a life that aligns with your values, a life that feels right on the inside, not just impressive on the outside, a life where you're no longer running, but rising, no longer hoping, but creating. No longer trapped, but free. And yes, it takes work, it takes patience, it takes relentless focus, but it also gives back more than you can imagine. Because when you build yourself, everything else follows. Income, opportunity, confidence, peace, it all begins with you. So stay with the process. Honor the promise and keep rising. If you've made the decision to rise, if you've begun honoring your word, then the next step is learning how to protect what you're building. Because progress, no matter how small, creates pressure. When your life starts to shift, when your mindset sharpens and your actions change, the world around you doesn't always celebrate it. In fact, sometimes it resists. People who once related to your struggles may not understand your ambition. Friends might question your choices. Family might express concern, not because they want to hold you back, but because your growth reminds them of what they've ignored in themselves. And that can be uncomfortable for them and for you. But you are not responsible for other people's comfort. You are responsible for your future. You must learn to stand firm in your decisions even when it feels lonely. Because greatness is built in silence, in solitude. In the unseen hours when no one claps, no one notices, and yet you show up anyway. That's what builds power. Quiet power. The kind that doesn't need validation. The kind that doesn't shake when the world pushes back. Jim Rohn understood this. That to become wealthy, truly wealthy, you had to become independent in your thinking. You had to stop following the crowd and start designing your life based on values, not trends. And that meant doing things differently, thinking differently, earning differently, living differently. One of the most important shifts you can make is learning to delay gratification, to train your mind to see long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. Because the truth is, the world is full of distractions disguised as fulfillment. It's easy to spend, easy to waste, easy to trade your time, your money, your energy for things that give you a moment of escape but steal your progress. But wealth doesn't come from how much you earn. It comes from how much you keep, how wisely you invest, and how consistently you grow. That means mastering self-control. That means learning to say no, even when it's tempting. That means remembering who you're becoming, even when the present feels demanding. Every financial decision is a vote for the life you want or a vote for the life you're avoiding. Start choosing with intention, not based on what feels good now, but based on what will feel right later. Spend less than you earn. Save more than you think you can. Invest in assets, not ego. Prioritize growth over status. Choose purpose over impulse. And above all, remember, money is a tool, not a trophy. Not a trophy. It's not here to impress others. It's here to build your future. And that future doesn't just show up one day. It's built with discipline. Layer by layer, decision by decision. Start treating your money like a reflection of your values. Track it, respect it, direct, because how you handle what you have now is the greatest predictor of what you'll have next. If you can't manage a little, you won't manage a lot. And if you don't change your habits, even winning the lottery won't save you. It'll destroy you. Wealth without wisdom is a recipe for chaos. But wealth with discipline, that's the path to freedom. Not just financial freedom, but mental freedom. The kind where you sleep well at night because your money works for you, not against you. The kind where you're not trapped by bills or debt or fear, but guided by clarity, purpose, and power. This is the level most never reach, not because it's impossible, but because it requires consistency. And consistency isn't glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not loud. It's boring. It's repetitive, but it works. And the ones who win, they're the ones who fall in love with the process, not just the outcome. They don't need motivation to show up. They've built systems. They've built habits. They've built discipline. So if you're tired of starting over, stop quitting. If you're tired of being behind, stop escaping. And if you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck, start thinking like someone who deserves more. Because you do. But deserving is not the same as receiving. You only receive what you're prepared to manage, what you've proven you can handle. So keep going, even when it's slow, even when it's hard, even when no one sees it, because your future is counting on what you're doing right now. You're not here to play small. You're not here to settle. You're here to grow into the person you were meant to become, a person with clarity, with power, with freedom. And it all starts with how you handle what's in your hands today. There's something powerful that happens when you stop waiting for your circumstances to change and start changing the way you respond to them. The moment you realize that control begins with you, everything shifts. You no longer feel like a victim of your past or your paycheck or your environment. You become the one shaping the outcome. That shift in mindset is the root of all transformation. Because wealth is not just a number, it's a mindset. And your mindset dictates your reality. If you believe you'll always struggle, you will. If you believe money is hard to earn, it will be. But if you begin to believe that every action you take matters, that every choice, every sacrifice, every disciplined move is carving a new path, you'll start to move differently. You'll start to expect more. And when your expectations rise, so does your life. You must train your mind to look beyond the moment, to stop being seduced by shortcuts and start building real foundations. Because shortcuts cut off more than time. They cut off growth. You miss the lessons, the strength, the endurance that only consistency can build. And that endurance is what will separate you when things get hard. Because they will get hard. Not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You will be tested. But here's the truth most people never hear. Tests don't come to stop you. They come to reveal you, show you where you still need to grow, to expose what's still weak so you can strengthen it. That's why the process matters. That's why daily habits matter. That's why every small disciplined act matters. Because it's not about perfection. It's about persistence. No one becomes wealthy by accident. No one becomes free without effort. Freedom is earned, not given. It's built through years of intentional living, through sacrifices that most people aren't willing to make, through self-control that most won't develop, through quiet choices that compound into loud results. And that's why wealth isn't just financial. It's personal, it's emotional, it's relational. It touches every part of who you are. Because when you learn to manage money well, you've learned how to manage yourself. And the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. If you're careless with time, you'll be careless with opportunity. If you waste energy on distractions, you'll miss the doors meant for your future. So take ownership. Own your time. Own your focus. Own your growth. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to do the work for you. And no one will believe in you more than you believe in yourself. If that belief is weak, your future will always feel out of reach. But if you decide today that you are the one responsible, everything becomes possible. You stop blaming. You stop complaining. You stop making excuses. And you start creating results, even small ones, especially small ones, because small wins build momentum. And momentum is how you beat resistance. Not with a giant leap, but with steady steps. Build structure into your day. Protect your morning. Set your goals. Track your spending. Study what you don't understand. Read what expands your thinking. Listen to voices that challenge your limits, and then apply what you learn. Because knowledge without action is just a distraction. Most people are full of ideas, but empty on execution. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan. Perfect feeling. But action isn't about perfection. It's about progress. If you want to move forward, start where you are, with what you have, and do what you can. That's the formula. It's simple, but it's not easy. Because easy is what keeps people broke, mentally, emotionally, financially. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. And that's the trap. It's easy to scroll, easy to spend, easy to procrastinate, but it's also easy to read one page, to save $1, to make one better choice. Those little choices are building something, whether you see it yet or not. And eventually, they stack up into something real, something you can stand on, something no one can take from you because you earned it. That kind of wealth lasts. That kind of growth lasts because it was built from the inside out. And when you reach that point, you won't just have money, you'll have mastery over yourself, over your decisions, over your future. That's what you're really after. Not just income, but impact. Not just security, but strength. Not just comfort, but confidence. And it's all possible if you stay the course, if you hold the vision, if you refuse to settle, because you're not just building a bank account, you're building a life. And when you understand that you're building a life, not just surviving a routine, everything begins to shift. You stop chasing approval. You stop comparing yourself to people who only show you their highlight reel. You stop needing external validation because your internal compass becomes stronger than anyone's opinion. That's the mindset that builds wealth. That's the identity that leads to lasting change. Because wealth isn't about having more, it's about becoming more. It's not about cars, clothes, or status. It's about power, the kind of power that can't be bought or borrowed. The power that comes from knowing who you are and where you're going. The kind of power that allows you to say no to distractions because your vision is too important. The kind of power that allows you to stay grounded when the world tries to rush you. People don't fail because they're not smart. They fail because they never commit. They dabble. They drift. They keep one foot in comfort and one foot in change, and then wonder why they never move forward. Growth demands full attention, full energy, full belief. You can't become great by being half in. You can't rewrite your financial story with the same mindset that created your struggles. You must be willing to outgrow your old self. And outgrowing your old self means making different decisions, not louder ones, smarter ones. You don't need to scream your goals. You just need to show up for them. Quietly, consistently, relentlessly. Cool. Because every time you honor a commitment to yourself, you build confidence. And confidence is currency. The more you trust yourself, the more action you take. The more action you take, the more results you create. And the more results you create, the more your life transforms. One decision at a time, many. But here's the truth. Results don't come from what you intend to do. They come from what you actually do. Intention without discipline is just noise. You can have all the plans in the world, but until you execute, nothing changes. Execution is where dreams turn into reality. It's where character is forged, and it's where wealth is built, not just financially, but mentally. Because wealth is a reflection of habits. Your habits with time, your habits with focus, your habits with money. You'll never rise higher than your standards. If you tolerate average, you will always live below your potential. If you make excuses, you will always stay stuck. If you procrastinate, you will always feel behind. But if you decide, truly decide, that your future deserves more than your excuses. You'll begin to break through. And that breakthrough doesn't come from doing everything at once. It comes from doing one thing well, then repeating it day after day, whether you feel like it or not, whether it's fun or not. Because emotion is fleeting, but discipline lasts. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It's the muscle that shows up anyway. It's what separates wishful thinking from real transformation. And yes, it will be hard. It's hard to say no when your friends are spending. It's hard to save when you want to splurge. It's hard to invest in your growth when the rewards aren't instant. But the pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret lasts forever. You have to ask yourself, what pain are you willing to endure? The pain of sacrifice now, or the pain of wishing later? Because time doesn't wait. Opportunities don't wait. And life will move with or without you. Question is, will you move with purpose? When you begin to live with purpose, your decisions change. You stop being reactive. You become strategic. You start asking, does this align with where I'm going? Instead of does this feel good right now? That one question can transform your finances, your energy, your relationships, your life. Purpose creates clarity. Clarity creates focus. And focus creates results. No more drifting, no more hoping, no more waiting. You have everything you need to start building a better future. Not next year. Not next month. Now. Right now. It doesn't matter how far behind you feel. It doesn't matter how many times you've failed. What matters is what you choose from this moment forward. Will you rise or will you retreat? Will you build or will you break down again? The choice is yours, and it always has been. This is your life, your responsibility, your opportunity. And it's time to act like